Good morning, my name is Dennis Jin. You are on for CS319, and I'm here to do the second experiment, which is about symbol table generation. Our aim is to write a program to scan the input program and generate a symbol table. So basically what this does, it inputs a given text file and it gets the expression as input and separates empty token. If the token ID, the token is ID, then it creates an entry in the symbol table and enters the identifier name and its corresponding data type. Likewise, it checks the data type of each, it checks the type of token it is and then represents it in a table respectively. So yeah, let's take a look at our input program. This is our input text right here. This is being inputted into the program, and a table such as this is elicited. Our code is as follows. So firstly, we have our import packages here. Then we have our public class. Inside that, I have initialized a couple of string arrays, namely SFR, FFR, data, which is initialized to null, and where, which is initialized to null as well. Then I have a variable called a variable integer I. I have inputted a text file. Its location is as given here. We've used file reader and buffered reader. And next we have a file, a system.out.print, println. This basically gives the header for our symbol table. We have data type followed by /t, which is tab, ID, initial values, return type, types of parameters, and number of parameters. Next, we have a string array, which is for our data types, namely int, float, char, double, long, byte, and boolean. That's for our basic data types, which are necessary for our program. Next, we have a while loop. So the while loop basically checks if the red line is not equal to null. In that case, it proceeds to the next phase. So then we have an if statement checking for parentheses, open parentheses. This basically indicates if we have a function. So if we take a look here, if we take a look at the given input program, we have parentheses indicating there's a function here. So this, we are telling the program to split the contents on the basis of the parentheses. So basically this would be our first part of the array, and after the parentheses would be our second part of the array. So then we print this according to if we give it the appropriate amount of spaces for our table. And likewise, as I said before, we split the first we split the given statement on the basis of the parentheses. The first part of the array would go into would be full, and the second part would be this portion here, and then we split it according to space as mentioned here, as given here. So basically, we split this whole thing into components based on space. So then we have float and add as two separate components, and we have this part over here. But notice how there is a comma. So for that comma, we have given our code as here. So for everywhere we find a comma, we are told to replace it with a space. and then split it based on the space. So what that does is that it would replace this comma with a space, and then we can split this whole content, this whole string into character components based on spaces. The result is basically stored into the var component here, and then we have a for loop here, which basically runs I till it reaches the length of the variable var, and then we have an if statement assessing if the data type matches the components of var, um, the component of var, and if that's true, our count is incremented, and then we replace all our semicolons with space, and then we print our we replace the parentheses on the basis, and we replace our parentheses with a space and give it the appropriate amount of spaces on our table. And lastly, we print our count. Then we have an else statement. Else statement is if we don't have a function read, basically it would go into the else statement, which would first run the for loop, checking the data type length, and then it splits, and then while the data type of k is true, so it goes into the data type here. It goes into the data type and checks if there is a match in the data type, and if that is the case, it splits the components in that file into on the basis of equal to sign. And then we have our for loop here. It basically runs I till it reaches the length of the variable, and wherever we see an apostrophe, we replace it with a space, and then we print. Then we replace our every semicolon with a space, and we give it the appropriate amount of spacing in the table and print it, and we print it. If that's not the case, then this else statement is basically for our IDs that do not have any initialized any number initialized to it. For example, B has a value of 5, but A doesn't. So we have given the value of A as 0. So we print our value as 0, and we print it accordingly with the appropriate amount of spacing. Next, we have a catch statement, catching exceptions if there are any. And lastly, we print whatever as the message, exception as a message if there is any. So when we run this program, we get this table here. This is our text file, and so as you can see here, it separates this text into data type, ID, initial value, return type, types of parameters, and the number of parameters. And it does it pretty well, I would say. Int A0. All our text are divided into these 6 types, 6 columns: data type, ID, initial value, return type, parameters, and number of parameters. And so this concludes our experiment here. Thank you.